leg. I just looked at this and I was like, it's gonna look like I'm wearing like what the fuck is he doing? Ladies and gentlemen, we're checking in. We're here in Mexico. This is my friend Mandelynn. We currently met in 4 countries so far now, and it was becoming very clear that there's something more divine in the works. So that said, what would you like people to know about you? And I know this is all impromptu. Really, we didn't talk too much about what's going on, but I would like to let you know before we even dive into it. I'm giving her some time to really digest what does she want to do, even though she's a fucking phenomenal speaker. Today we're talking about tantric sex. Okay, a little bit about what is the rise or even the importance, if you will, or some in between behind twin flames. She's going to kind of explain some of that. What is the real purpose behind it? The call for celibacy on some fronts. So you can see a poll on the side. Feel free when the time comes, take a vote. Obviously, go ahead, hit the thumbs up. This is an automatic must. Mandelynn, real quick. This age of Aquarian, we're diving in. Twin flames, tantric sex. What is all the hype? What is all the noise?
You know, the age of Aquarius is not what everybody is thinking it is. You know, like today it's International Women's Day. And it was funny because we were supposed to do this yesterday and we ended up moving it till today.
Right.
And there's no coincidence that we're doing this today.
Not at all.
Because as we were moving into the age of Aquarius, everybody is thinking, oh, we're moving away from this masculine into the feminine. No, this year is very much drawn into the Tao, which is the union of the masculine and the feminine and how we come together. Together. It's not about just the rise of women.
Right.
And what our role is as a woman and as a man. And so the role of Aquarius isn't moving away from this patriarchal society into a more matron-like. It is the call of getting out of duality, getting out of division, and how we as men and women work together. That's what this is all about. And how we do that looks completely different than what's being taught out there. It's just not taught out there. And it's really unhealthy what is being put out there right now. And so I'm really excited to have this conversation. And this is actually, I've been being called to come out of hiding and hibernation for a while.
With the yellow and the solar plexus on fleek.
Yeah, because I used to do a lot of media, I used to do a lot of TV, and this one television show keeps on messaging me, I want you to come out, and I'm like, I don't know what to talk about right now. But I think and for me, I really needed to come into that groundedness in the true Tantra, because that is the message that needs to be spoken about right now. What is Tantra? Because anything that's out there that's written in a book, on YouTube, anything, I promise to God, it's all garbage. There's nothing out there right now that's not garbage about Tantra.
Okay. So we're definitely gonna take the moment to break down Tantra today. All right. And we're gonna take in Mandelyn's view on like what was she doing in, let's say, recharge, hiding. You know, when we all get, especially on this, let's say, spiritual path, we all get called at a certain point to go inward. Okay. That's an obvious at this point. And so during this time inward, what was given to you? Because I know before we got here, we were talking about dharma, your dharma specifically. And you were saying when Tantric came up in one of our conversations, we were like, oh, this has something to do with my dharma. And you kind of led into the beast. And really, I know the beast is not very widespread. And I know many are not even familiar, even if I say the term. And if you do know what the beast is, take a moment to comment, whether you're watching this live or on the replay, about your own interpretation of the beast, of tantric sex, so that we can kind of open conversation, open discussion. So when you talked about your dharma with me the other day, when we talked and got into tantric sex and the beast, what is the correlation between the two as we dive a little bit deeper?
Okay. The beast is something that first let's go back into the Tantra.
Okay.
Right. So, and then I guess then we'll discuss what the beast is.
Okay.
Tantra is really the union of spiritual energies. And then the physical, like our senses, our five senses,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to, because Tantra isn't sex. It's not. Like it's like the cherry, like the sex is like the cherry on top.
Sure.
You can't just like have the cherry and then think that everything else is gonna, it's like just the cherry on top. Everything else,
Tip of the iceberg.
absolutely.
Bang.
So it should be the union. We're moving into everything in life is tantric. And so, so for me, when I break down Tantra,
Mm.
I break down anything in life, I bring it back down to creation. Does it align with the laws of nature?
Mm.
If it does not align with the law of nature, it is not true.
Mm.
That's Tantra. So creation begins with a seed and nurturing the seed, right? And if something like any kind of bit of information, anything in life, if it doesn't go down to the laws of nature and it doesn't align with that, it's not true, because that's how Tantra works. So in the universe, for instance, you've got the Father, which is the cosmos, which is the astrology, the sun, the moon, all that kind of stuff. That's all the Father. The Mother is Earth. Everything in between, in the middle, is the tantric creation
Mm.
of those two making love with each other.
Boom. So you would say in some other fashion or different words, this is the divine masculine and feminine making its union?
1,000,000%. And so that's why when we hear we're all one, we are all one, because it's the cosmos and Mother Earth that made love with each other, and everything in between is the creation of that.
Mm.
So it doesn't matter what it is in the middle of this and this. We are all one creation of that. So there can be no division.
Mm.
There cannot be a division. It's not possible.
So what does twin flames have as a role in comparison to everything that you just mentioned? What is the hype? Why does everyone chase their twin flame? Why does everyone run from their twin flame? Where did the term even come from, if that's relevant? And just in general, to break in, how does twin flames play a role in the father, the mother, the unity, and the creation in the middle?
Well, because I think people have they have, again, whatever information is written there, like out there, understand that it's most likely not true,
Mm.
right? Again, if a twin flame, if we look at what we think is a twin flame, most people will describe it as there's these two souls that are coming together,
Hmm.
um, and then it becomes one. Well, that goes against the law of nature.
What if I interject for a moment? At least from my understanding of twin flames prior, it was one soul split into two different bodies, which created the polarity to want to kind of find its way back together, the one soul back to itself. At least that was my understanding prior.
Yeah.
I never really heard of it of two souls separate.
Yeah, no. So, it for me, I don't use the term twin flame anymore, because it alludes to two separate things. And 222,
Hmm.
right? There's 2022 is, it's not this energy of this year is moving us out of duality, and we can all feel that right now.
Mm.
We are all in this particular point of time right now, being forced to look at anywhere in our lives we're creating any kind of contrast. And if there is any contrast in our lives right now, it's going to create some kind of suffering. So it's not about a twin flame. If anybody has experienced or gone through A Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles talks about the sacred union.
Mm-hmm.
There's no wording in there about a twin flame.
Sure.
It's about a sacred union. And it takes many, I don't even like to say past lifetimes, many timelines to do that kind of work, because it's like that last timeline, you're going to come in partnership with the sacred union. And it's not marriage in the sense of what we think marriage is.
Sure.
It's actually, this is where the Tantra comes in. The Tantra is the marriage between the Ka bodies, which are the actual subtle bodies, which is an actual, it takes some preparation to get there, a lot of preparation to get there, which is very deep spinal work with the Akashic records and being able to move spinal fluid up through the spine, waking up the Kundalini and making sure those 4 snakes intertwine. And then that flame comes together. That's where the twin flame comes together, unites, kind of like in the Olympics. Then the flame comes together, and then the sacred union, the work is the rocket ship, where you come together and actually do the work together, and that's what makes things very powerful. And that's the second part of the Kundalini, but the Kundalini is awakened individually first, and then the second part is actually called Mantha Kundalini or Mountain Kundalini when you bring in the partner, but it's got nothing to do with sex, because what it is, it's actually a union between the Ka bodies, which is a 6 to 8 hour ceremony of only touching, no releasing of any bodily fluids, of bringing the two
On both behalves, men and women.
So it would be like if you and I were doing this together, there would be a lot of preparation that we would have to do in order to bring that union together spiritually, and that would actually be the marriage. And then and this is what, and I'm not talking on a religious standpoint, but this is why Jesus was so powerful. This was the union between Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And Mary Magdalene, as the woman, was able to bring that power to him to raise him up. And that is what the union of, that is what the Age of Aquarius is about. It's the union, that tantric union between men and women. And so right now, we as women need to rise up in that power and drop that mask that we're these individual, like, I'm independent, strong woman. Yeah, you are a strong woman because you're able to stand behind a man and lift him up to make him better. So a strong woman actually needs to be able to surrender under the wing of a man. That is what the Age of Aquarius is all about, bringing the man out of the mind and dropping him into the heart.
Wow.
That's the Age of Aquarius.
That's super dope, because I know a lot of people on here, you guys are astrology buffs, and if you know, Aquarian being the mind, literally the opposite of it being the heart, which is Leo, and she's actually a Leo rising, and she's out here shining today like one too. And so I find that really interesting, just that last piece of bringing the man out of the mind back into the heart. And if you notice, again, for the channel here, Pluto and Capricorn in this moment, like capitalism, America, whatever, these structures of power that currently exist, how it's in the process of imploding, right? All of the forward moving progress from a space of, let's say, greed, and from a space of even just like selfishness, going back into greed a little bit, all of it's kind of starting within this next year and a half. And this is kind of how this conversation began. When I recognized you said something, you were like, the year and a half, the beast's coming, or it's in this unraveling process.
For 42 months, the beast gets to reign and do whatever the hell he wants, right? Which is, well, we'll go into this a little bit later. Really, what is the true Illuminati, right? And what is the Dark Brotherhood, and the Great White Brotherhood and Sisterhood, right?
Mm.
And how the beast is reigning, but the beast gets to reign for 42 months. We've got about 18 more months of the beast reigning, but right now the beast gets to just reign. So everybody's like
And what does that look like when the beast
it
is
looks like exactly what's happening right now.
yeah.
We've got 7 years of chaos
Okay.
where we're going through a great change.
Mm-hmm.
The pot has to boil before it gets better, but everybody's like, "Oh my God, that's happening!" Man, we're only at 2022. This is going to happen until 2027.
5 more years.
We've got, so we cannot allow this to affect our peace.
Mm.
Like the Great White Brotherhood and the Great White Sisterhood, right now, this is our time to become strong, and go into our own self-acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
and our own self-awareness. So understand, like, even like with the coaching industry, I called this years ago. The coaching industry is going to unravel, because what happens is we were all called into doing the work.
Mm.
But then what happened was like, oh, I learned this about myself. How do I create a business out of it? But so many people did not actually integrate what they were learning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, I learned this NLP. How do I now serve others in this? But you didn't integrate it.
Right.
So you yourselves, like, let's just say you're a life coach. Why in the world am I having these like big shadow drops, ebbs and flow? Because you didn't integrate it. And so the last couple years, what happened? Many people who are like in the coaching and all this stuff lost everything.
Yeah. I remember, and it's interesting because it's exactly what's happening in astrology as well. Like it almost like in the last 2 years specifically, and this coaching has been going on longer than that. But I know in the last 2 years specifically, it was one of those moments where when the quarantine first hit, let's say March 2020, there was this moment of if you, from that time until now, if you were doing the work, or if you weren't doing the work, whatever side you decided to be on, the narrative is flipping. This year specifically, I've been noticing it, and it's going to continue throughout the year for the next like 16 or so months, which kind of aligns right into the same amount of time that the beast is going to be able to have its reign.
Yeah.
And so that's really interesting. It's ironic. I want to really address what this person said real quick. I found my past life counterpart. I know you just spoke about past life, so I'm curious about it. I found my past life counterpart, but they aren't spiritual. We had this conversation. Can we still have tantric tapping into that past life that we had?
First of all, there's no such thing as a person who's not spiritual. Every single person on this planet is going through a spiritual journey. There's no person on this planet that's not a spiritual being.
Right.
Every single one of us is divine. And if we're to say that somebody's spiritual and not spiritual, that's exactly why that person is coming into your life, to show you where you are not expressing your own divinity. Who are we to judge if somebody's spiritual or not?
Yeah. Yeah. We met in Bali, and we know Bali has that effect. It either pulls you in or it kicks you out. And I got kicked out pretty quick. I was like I was only there for like 4 months maybe.
Okay.
And it's interesting because I never really got to. It was more. I heard it. I heard how spiritual it is, and I'm talking primarily of the foreigners, not the people of Bali itself, not the Balinese or the Indonesians, but the actual Europeans and the Americans. I would say in the masses. And I never. It's interesting, and I want you to be really honest, even if it's a direct attack on me. I want you to be honest because we're here to really spread awareness, right?
Yeah.
Now, I got kicked out. I didn't get pulled in that 4-month span, and then as a part of that, I never had a real moment to dive into, from what I heard, the spiritual community. I was kind of isolated, if I'm being honest. I wasn't involved in too many of the events. Kind of was just out there doing my own thing. And I was really dolo in my own ways. The reason I bring this up is you spoke about the coaching industry. being spiritual or not spiritual. And I know we met in Bali where everyone in a sense was spiritual. And I'm gassing that up.
Yeah, I'm spiritual.
Everyone's spiritual. If you make it to Bali, you're spiritual. Who do you feel was drawn in and who do you feel was kicked out of the equation that we just presented?
The thing is with, you know, the Bali you have to experience. Like you can't like really just like, you know, explain what Bali is. But Bali, they balance the energies 3 times a day. And they balance not only just the positive, but they also honor the dark.
And the dead, no?
So not really the dead, because it's like to them it's just in Hindu,
Okay.
they honor all of it, because again there's no everything's transitional. So when they go and balance the energies, they're balancing it all, they're honoring all of it. So those who didn't want to look at the dark, they're going to get spit out, because they're only wanting to look at the light. And so when the flashlight shows on the shadow, oh, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that because I'm all about love, light, and happiness. What's going to happen? And when the light's constantly being shown, right? Like we don't judge the sun for, like right now the sun is out, it's beautiful. Do we judge the sun for coming out?
No, but we judge the rain.
Yeah, but then it's like, but we're constantly judging and judging and judging and judging. And if you're in a place of judging, you're gonna get kicked out.
I can see that.
And so those who didn't embrace it, there's a key to that: accept, allow, embrace. If you don't go through that accept, allow, embrace, and let it turn to vapor and pass through you in totality, not just half-ass, it's got to be in totality. You got to feel it in totality. Then you're going to hit this brick wall, and you're going to hit it and then constantly be in resistance. And whatever it is that you desire in life, it's going to always be like this carrot that's dangling in front of your face that you can't reach. And you don't know why you're not reaching it. It's because you're not allowing it to be in totality.
She said it. I definitely got kicked out. I said it up front, not knowing her answer up front. And what's ironic about it is this, my unraveling, if you will, was Colombia after Bali. It didn't happen if you were in Bali. So I can see how, like, during that phase, what I was able to kind of take more time to digest when I was in Colombia was that there were elements I wasn't recognizing how judgmental I was. I wasn't recognizing how much I wasn't willing to see my part. In what ways was I blaming or even taking a position of superiority? Literally, even a position of superiority on like, nah, that ain't me. So there you go. Like, I'm actually really happy to have this moment and for her to even express this and for me to hear this right now, because there are many moments I've said to people, even on this channel, it's like, please do not look at me like some god. Like I always try to like repeat this, and that's why I'm really happy to hear her go through this moment now. For me to even be on that spot for people that have that image of me at whatever term, whether it's short term, long term, whatever it is, that 3 years or so ago I was in Bali, and this was a full rejection on my behalf. Like, because again, Bali has that energy. And there are a lot of different portals or different lands that has that energy where you either get pulled in or you get kicked out. And it generally will be obvious on top of that. It's kind of like you thought you were going to stay, and it's like, no, I thought I was going to stay for a while.
That happened to me in Hawaii.
Happened in Hawaii?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know that's one of the next grounds. Playa Carmen is one of them, I think. I've kind of noticed that. So let me just check in real quick and see if not too afraid to look in the mirror. Yeah. Somebody saying, Elijah is saying it's a very purposeful interaction. Before we go to the next step, definitely, whether you're watching this live or replay, hit the thumbs up. Drop your questions. We're not necessarily just here to talk to you and spit all this jargon. We're here to actually answer and bring awareness to things that maybe you weren't fully aware about. Like you hear something that maybe potentially triggers you during this conversation. Lean into that. just like we're saying about me, and recognize what happened when I did it in this time of Bali, lean into, what may have been triggering.
Absolutely, because the thing is, it's like we can have like a really highly spiritual conversation, quote unquote spiritual conversation, but if we're not imbibing what we're talking about and making it physical, there's no point of having this conversation, because we have to imbibe everything that it is. And so if we're not living it and experiencing it and knowing how to incorporate this message into our daily lives, we're not moving forward and we're not advancing into the new wave of consciousness.
And what you said there when you were speaking, it brought me back to this concept, phrase, excuse me, in reality that does exist about twin flames, right? Reason being, when you said that, it made me recognize why the term may have gained some popularity, because it may be more easily digestible to have a reason almost to face those shadows, to have to face those mirrors.
That is such a shadow, and it's a rabbit hole that keeps us trapped in suffering.
True.
Like seriously, like if I can, like, I had a great mentor one time that said advice is for the devil. So
I remember that quote.
I don't want to give any advice, but if there's one thing to walk away from this video, never say the word twin flame again. It's gone, it's done. Just don't ever say it again, because the connotation behind it, it's not healthy. And there is an activation that must go through, and what the twin flame actually is, like the amount, what you it's not what you think it is. And this idea of a twin flame puts us and keeps us in a cycle of suffering. So do yourself a favor and get out of that cycle of suffering. That there's this person out there that's teaching you all these lessons for you to do the work and get. Look, true spirituality is not about doing any work. There is no work to be done. You're not broken. You are not broken. We are constantly preparing ourselves. And when we were talking about like getting out of the coaching industry, I want to talk about that for just a second. Why are we moving out of the coaching industry? We're not broken. And the reason why we're moving out of this, like, quote unquote coaching, is because what has happened is, oh, I've got this knowledge that I'm going to charge somebody top dollar for. And now what, like a coach, for instance, and we're just diving. How do you chew an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So for all the coaches out there, they're getting all triggered. I know that you've been feeling this pain by this. Don't try and bullshit me. If there's one thing that everybody that knows me knows, I can see right through the bullshit, and you can say something and I'll see through it, right? And the reason why I say that is because it's just a constant projection back and forth on client and coach. And it's avoidance of seeing your own. It's the avoidance of seeing your own path. Every single thing that we're going through on this lifetime is about what we are going through. We're paving our own path, and it's our own journey. And eventually we look behind us and there's people following us. And again, I'm not talking about religion. I got major goosebumps right here. But for me, Jesus is a giant guide, a huge guide for me. And so when I look at my own life, I'm like, did Jesus say, how do I create a business out of this?
No.
Did Jesus ask, how can I make more money? Did Jesus ask, how do I fight against the algorithms? But no, 2,000 years later, he's the most famous being on the planet. And everybody, regardless of what your religion is or whatever, you look at the world, we are leading by the example that he imbibed while he was here on earth. And that is the example that I choose to live my life by, is the example of what Jesus led by on this planet. And again, I'm not talking in a sense of religion.
Mm.
And so, therefore, like, I don't worry about the business. I don't worry about and making money. I don't worry about any of that because I go back and again I ask the law of nature, the law of Tantra, and really that was Jesus's message. Was the Tantric union, which is exactly why the Catholic Church shunned Mary Magdalene 600 years later after Jesus died because they didn't want that information out there because it's too fucking powerful. And now it's time to bring it back.
I had to take a pause before I read this next comment and let that sink in for people.
I got chills.
Yeah. I was
because
thinking the same.
this is exactly what it is. It just gives me such pleasure because the amount of self-awareness and inner work for me to come up with the confidence to speak this message, it took a lot for me to go. It took me literally through the gates of hell to be able, and this is the first time that I'm actually really speaking this out in public.
On International Women's Day. So I want to also say, all my women out there, honestly, go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back. Also give Mandelynn a pat on the back. You know, throw a congratulations, throw a love, just throw some hearts in the comments, something, because I know enough to know that, like, from backdoor conversations that you've already been saying, like, damn, like, 2 to 3 years or so, you've just been in hell, in your own version of it, your own version of a loop in hell over and over and over. And she, on International Women's Day, we changed that. Thank you for the flowers. I see Jessica Martinez. We just changed that. From yesterday, we were supposed to have this talk, and I didn't know International Women's Day was today until today. So the fact that it all switched up, and you have this, let's say, a coming out party, you got the yellow, the solar plex, the ambition is going through its own rebirth process. I want to say thank you for the courage, being bold, and speaking a message, your personal truth in this moment that will carry. You never know where, you never know how long, especially with the internet. Like you don't know the actual impact. We never will, and it's also not the purpose, right? Like,
I don't need to know.
This is the magic of it. So
I don't need to know.
Oh man, thank y'all for those hearts. Thank you. Oh man, I've seen a love pull up. I'm grateful for the wisdom. Been through that. Hearts on fire. Somebody asked a question earlier. I've been crying randomly too lately, not knowing why. The first thing I want to ask you is, did you ask yourself why? And if there's anything different that why this gentleman may be crying and doesn't know why exactly. Somebody saying the angels are channeling. I also saw something about amen, tap into Christ consciousness.
I do want to mention that. And I do want to mention it was a man that said he was crying.
Yes, Elijah.
Because that's the power of the femininity. It's to my right before 2021, I asked God, why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
And this was the message. You are here, and I've got tears flowing with you right now that are coming because I feel it very strongly. And like I honestly just like want to break into tears with you for just a moment. And I'm not taking on the energy. I just I really just feel it from a lot of people right now. So I just really want to take on some of that karma for you and release a little bit of that for you right now. That was a message that I got August 2017. I almost came to a point where I wanted to quit. And Jesus came to me and said, you're going to get into ministry. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, you want me to get into ministry? And at that point, my spirituality was very, very, very sacred. Very, I didn't want to share my spirituality with people. So I didn't know what that meant. But he said, I'm very angry with the way the church has been using my name. And I'm coming to you. And I want you to start sharing the message of true Christ consciousness. And then in right at the end of 2020, going into 2021, was, all right, what is it that you want me to share? And the message was exactly this. You are here to bring the change of the world is going to come through the hearts of the healed heart of men, through men. Not women, through men. And I want to make this really clear because as women, we need to prepare ourselves just like Mandelynn did. Your mission is to bring men out of the mind and into the heart. And if we think about like the yellow, right, and the orange, so we've got the men are up here, the thinkers, and then we've got our other brain that's down here. What is in the middle? The heart and the expression. Only when those two come together are we able to express the desires of the heart. One cannot be without the other. So if you're going to judge somebody for being spiritual and not spiritual, how can you do that one without the other? That is the Tao. That is the yin and yang. We have to come together in union within ourselves first in order to be able to do that in sacred union. And not very many people are going to meet their sacred partner. It's very rare that you're going to meet your sacred union in this time. Like Rumi said, what you seek is seeking you. So don't seek anything. Become a magnet for what it is that you want because it's drawing to you. So the more you use this is going into the coaching industry, the more you imbibe this message of Christ consciousness, whatever it is that you're seeking through the wisdom of the body is naturally going to attract whatever it is that we're seeking in our lives. And then we can have the mind, the throat, the heart, all of the chakras and the energy systems come together. And then again, the Eye of Horus, the heart opener, there's an eye that's in the center of the heart, then opens up. And I just really want to just make a really crazy comment right now, because right here you've got the red and the yellow rubber bands tied together in sacred union, which I know wasn't intentional, but I'm keeps on staring at it. That there's no coincidence in that happening.
It's almost like, so just to give you all a visual, on the table, the rubber bands were literally sitting like this, almost like you said, in this sacred union the entire time, and it wasn't intentional. And it's ironic because I saw it when it flipped there like that, but I just left it.
And I keep on staring at it. And I was like, I have to comment on it because there's no such thing as coincidence.
Absolutely not.
And when the Eye of Horus opens up in your heart, you start to see the world outside of the matrix, and then all the symbolism in that sending you the messages so you can connect the dots, so you can step more further into Christ consciousness. So I was really drawn to that. I really wanted to comment that there was no coincidence in that happening. And then I have not worn this. I bought this in Playa and I just bought it. And today, for some reason, I picked it up and I was like, I need to wear it. And then I was.
What do you feel the significance is?
It's time. The time of the certain deities come out in life when the message is right. And then the deities in anything in life, we just play off the shoulders off of the other when the message is ready to be received on the planet. And right now is just confirmation that it's time for this talk of Tantra. to be spoken. It's just time. We're ready to receive it.
Wow. You really do got the love coming in. You might have been channeling a couple people crying in that moment, actually, from what I see in the chat.
There was a lot.
Yeah, there was a couple
That's why
people.
I needed to take the pause.
You know, I hear you actually, because at one point my eye had this little itch in the corner, and I saw you look right at, like right before it all happened. I felt this little like.
There's an itch right here. For me, and I think a lot of people could see me like rubbing it.
Yeah. Wow. Because somebody else I saw mention that they felt somebody else. It was lovely root. Oh, why would I take my glasses off and try to read that? I was like, this thing is blurry. I did. Lovely Root was also saying, why am I feeling that this person's emotions last night? And randomly felt him crying. I'm guessing that was a woman. But what I wanted to kind of ask you, I have this question I want to ask you. I'm going to bookmark. I'm going to tell you so I don't forget it, and then I'm going to just check their comments. How does this play? How between, let's say, man and woman right now? Woman being the one to stand behind in order to help lift the male up so that he can get out of the mind into the heart. Now, as a part of that, there's this, I'm going to call it, for simplicity in the moment, culture of emasculated men or men who are, from what it looks like, trying to embrace emotions, but then they're overindulging. Mm-hmm. How does that play a role, and how do we recalibrate it, right? Where it's like, okay, let's say they were cold up front, all in the mind at a point, completely detached from the heart. Then they may be getting too much, for simplicity, in the heart. How do we bring ourselves to this calibrated moment where we hit this balance beam, let's say that union in the middle? I'm going to bookmark it while I just kind of like check what was going on here. Thank you for being here. International Women's Day. I see the flowers. Thank y'all for giving her those flowers, those hearts. I really appreciate that. Been through hell, hearts on fire, bam. Showing up for myself today, absolutely. Let it flow, sister. Boom, thank you for tapping in. It's heavy. Absolutely. Again, all my women out there, happy International Day. Like Mandelynn had said earlier, recognize that you got more than just a day, all right? Like, it's not just today. So I just want to like embrace that as well along this. And I see Awakened Guy saying, well, prior to that, Secret, thank you, beautiful spirit. It's powerful, and you're definitely a strong one. It's been a journey for sure. I received bad news about my health, very serious stuff, and it really kind of threw me off trying to keep the faith. I don't know why. I kind of want to ask you if you have anything to comment on her trying to keep the faith.
Absolutely. So she's going through some health issues.
Yeah.
Health issue. Okay, so yeah, let's so sexual transmutation, that's the thing that we're bookmarking for a moment, because that's what
bookmark sexual transmutation.
Health issues. We are not always listening when things are good in our lives. When things are good in our lives, we ain't listening. We're having too much fun indulging.
Sure.
So then God comes in with that loving 2x4. Now we're forced to listen and take a pause.
I entirely agree. I've said this in so many different ways, in so many different times. So whoever was going through the health issues, just heed her words. You don't have, it's not advice, mind you. She said, and she spoke on her mentor very clearly, stating that advice is for the devil. So it's not advice. It's just an open statement that ultimately when we have injuries or mental diseases or health issues manifest, it's when we're not listening.
We're not listening. The body never, ever, ever, ever lies. The body never lies. You've got to listen to your body right now. So what happens when we're having health issues, I want you to think about your body being like a receiver, because that's what it is. The body is a receiver. And we've got many bodies. We've got our dense body, which is our physical body. And then we have all these layers of bodies. Like, think of it like an Oreo cookie. Okay. So our physical body is one side of the cookie. And then we've got our spiritual body, which is like the outermost.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into the names of the subtle bodies
Perfectly
right now.
fine.
It's going to
Perfectly fine.
blow this place up, and that's a completely different conversation. So we've got our physical body, and then we've got our very outermost spiritual body. In the middle, we have our emotional body, which is our astral body.
Mm-hmm.
Our outermost spiritual body shines light onto our physical body
Mm-hmm.
through the astral body. So if the astral body has any like dirt on it, like there's like a screen,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's any dirt, it's kind of like a TV receiver, right? And it's projecting on, it's going to give a fuzzy signal. And every part of the body has a different meaning. Okay. So if you're having shoulder issues, if you're having issues here, it means something.
Mm-hmm.
It means something. Every organ, everything has a particular meaning. So it's trying to tell you something that needing to be addressed that you've been avoiding in some area. And so listen to it.
And whoever that was, if you feel called to share potentially what
Body part it
what
was.
body part, what organ, what is the
What
health
disease?
issue, what's the disease,
Type it in there.
mental, physical, go ahead, type it. And I'm positive, I know a couple of people even in the chat right now who work in that same space of being able to interpret the body, as well as Mandelynn and myself. So it's like, go ahead and type that if you really want to. I don't really want to say get to the next step. I really don't really want to say that. But if you want to just gain clarity and self-awareness of what is making his best attempt to be revealed to you. Lovely Root, I see you saying thank you. You checked me, you checked me. I put myself above others because of the spiritual quote unquote title. And I really needed that. And, I thank you for the vulnerability. Go ahead and just admitting that, because this is what's being required.
We're breaking. There's no more spiritual ego.
South Node in Scorpio.
There's no more spiritual ego. This is what, when we go back, start talking about the beast.
Yeah.
There's 3 levels that we're either going. Look, don't be getting sad over all these people dying right now.
Right.
The only thing in life we're guaranteed is transition. And right now, the world cannot. So there's a. Look at the scale from 0 to 1,000. The world cannot sustain the level of consciousness that we're at right now. Right now, the energy of the earth is around 278. The consciousness is too low. We are moving into between 450 and 500. There's many people who don't want to move up into that. Everybody, whether you're
because it's happening regardless.
Whether you're conscious of it or not, most people are not conscious of it. The souls were given a choice. Are you ready to transcend into a new world? In 100 years from now, we will be living in a new world and a new we're no longer in a new human. It's no longer human being. It's going to be a completely different race of human that we're going to see in 100 years.
Yeah.
So the rise of consciousness right now has to rise. So the people right now are the souls who are like, nope, I'm not going there. They're going to experience a physical death.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And it's not about not being compassionate about it. No, we're guaranteed that. No, I'm guaranteed that no matter what. The key is we've got to transcend our fear of death.
Absolute.
We've got to transcend the fear of death. So then we've got that. So you're either going to experience a physical death or you're going to experience an ego death. And one of the other reasons is we got the Bardo state, where those people are the ones that are dealing with severe mental health issues.
Sure.
Right? And so in that, if we have time, that's that 4th dimension that you absolutely do not want to get stuck in. Right? That might be a different conversation, right? But what side of what line are you gonna walk? What do we choose to walk on? And if we choose to go through that ego death, everything that we're going through is an inner journey. It's not about, oh, I learned this great thing. How can I teach this to other people? No, you must imbibe it. And then, one of the, I feel like I've been repeating this over and over and over to people. God pays you. I use the word God. People can use spirit, universe, or whatever. I don't care. For me, it's God. But God pays me, not people.
Hmm.
So I don't worry about it.
And she's not talking about monetary currency.
Because it comes in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, when I was so focused on making money,
Yeah.
I was so stressed out all the time. But now, like, there's things that come to me that are worth so much more
So much
than
more
money,
abundant, yeah.
and I live like so amazingly,
Yeah.
and it's got nothing to do with money.
No, it's very low level. It doesn't make it into that 400, 500 frequency you were talking about.
No,
not at all.
I don't even worry. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly don't even worry about my bank account.
No.
I don't even worry about it because I know the only thing that I need in life is faith. And as long as I have faith, everything is taken care of.
Yeah. It's one of the better parts about being a 5. I don't have to think about these things. No, thank you for sharing that. Somebody did say, and I'm gonna give this to you, that they've been feeling a lot of energy in their feet and their hands.
Oh my God, yes.
So, and I know this guy, and he had an astrology therapy session with me one of these times, and it's interesting that he says this. So I'm gonna stay silent on my behalf because I think he knows enough. From that comment, I already got it. So I want to have it come from fresh ears and fresh eyes and a fresh mouth. But as a part of that, we do have that bookmark on sexual transmutation we're going to get to. And really, other than that, I'm experiencing an ego death right now. And I'm being guided to someone I've never thought I would like because we're so different. But I'm listening to my intuition. And you just talked about this with me, right? With the 5-1 and even my human design of like being on this 5, that 1, that more physical, grounded body is going to be required in order for me to bring that. If I try to use the oil you were using to bring the spirit body, the physical body, and that emotional mesh in the middle to kind of bring it back into, again, union. So I bring that up, Lovely Root, just to say that we just had this conversation 10 minutes before we got on this live about myself. Like literally. So surrender. If it is are you a woman, Lovely Root? I'm just getting the vibe that you might be, but I'm not positive. Not that it would matter tremendously. But we're gonna go to the feet and the hands. There's somebody in the comments right now who's been feeling a lot of energy coming from their feet and their hands. And right prior to that comment, this person said that after a night of heavy drinking, his skin dried up and became a little discolored over one weekend, and it taught him a huge lesson over the past 3 days.
Feet are all about, number one, being grounded and moving forward.
Yeah.
So, it's our connection to Earth. And we have to shed. So in order to move forward in life, like our feet guide us. It's about being planted. So if there's that energy it's funny because like my feet are peeling right now. I went through a foot peel. And because I am moving into a completely different area of my life and moving in a different direction, our feet guide us and point us where we're going. So listening to our feet and how we ground ourselves to move forward in life. That's how we take our steps forward in life. And again, our connection to the mother.
Right.
So for the and I'm also going to say this because this is coming through. Well, it's got to come through because this is very prominent right now. The mother is all about relationships. And right now there's a huge call about relationships. So the feet are also about relationships and Mother Earth, because that's how our relationship, that was our first relationship that we had.
Mm.
So when we're having any kind of issue or a lot of energy coming through the feet, you're really being guided to look at that energy. And especially men right now, oh my God, especially men right now, you really got to start looking at the relationship that you have with your mother, because that's the kind of woman you're going to be bringing in. Is she's going to be drawing out those energies from the mother, just like naturally a woman. When I meet men all the time. My dad is African, so naturally I'm drawn to men who have accents.
Switch neck. I'm looking to the left too much. I'm looking to the right too much.
Who I'm naturally drawn to foreign men with accents who are engineers. Almost every single person that I meet, like romantically, happens to be some kind of engineer or software
Why do you
developer.
feel that to be true?
Because my dad is one.
Boom.
And what am I dealing with right now? Which is why I got kicked out of Hawaii. Was because it was a safety and security for me, which is the father energy. We're being called out of duality, and the union of masculine and feminine, which is in my astrocartography, Mexico City, the union of the masculine and the feminine.
Mine's just Chiang Mai, Thailand. That's where I met Cindy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really funny.
And so, yeah, this is Mexico City for me. And this is exactly why I got kicked out of Hawaii. And I'm like, how the frick did I end up in Mexico?
Right.
So we'll put that to the side if anybody has any questions. But the hands. The hands are the heart. The hands are the heart. The heart energy moves through the hands.
Whoa. Go ahead. That last comment just freaked me out. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Moves through the hands. So when I was doing my heart opener, I was wondering why my hands were so numb. When I was sleeping, my hands were like constantly going numb, or I would wake up with my hands clenched like this. And the reason for me, again, it came down to the safety and security.
I had a release when you said that, by the way.
Yeah, it was because for me, as I really desire now to be married, and thinking about starting another family, which I've already had a family, now I'm being called into this new phase in my life. I was like, very resistant to it, and I wasn't ready to open this heart. And so I was getting a lot of numbness or waking up with my hands clenched, because my body was telling me where I was closing off, where my heart wasn't open. So the hands are all about the heart.
I got all these releases coming out.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
Definitely go ahead, hit that thumbs up. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna read this next comment, and I also, honestly, me and Sound, we're like best friends. So I'm gonna take my little sound break.
That's the threes. The threes are about music and movement, and sound, obviously.
Now I literally have tears coming down, like literally on both sides, whether that's me or somebody.
That's you.
It most likely is, because I can feel my tears now.
He's so lucky. He's got all this. He's got this like energy right next to him. He didn't know didn't know that he was coming to Mexico for this.
I knew I came to Mexico for something, like, because my whole shit got redirected. My shit was like,
got reconnected, and I'm like, man, it's your fault that I'm here in Mexico.
I mean, it's your fault I'm here in Mexico, because I wasn't coming here.
I wasn't coming here either.
This is the last part in the list.
I thought I was finally just settled somewhere.
Yo, when I tell you, I already told you about it. I got redirected. I was just like, where you want me to go? $71 flight to Mexico? Okay. So
I flew into Hawaii, and 4 days later, kicked out of Hawaii. Nope, you're going to Mexico.
Super bananas.
What?
Super bananas.
What? I just freaking got here.
Super bananas.
Yeah.
Somebody said something in the chat that was interesting, and they said, wow, this is really random. Oh, these glasses. Wow, this is really random, but the colors of the pillow match your outfits. Look at the entire room. Look at the whole room.
Oh my God.
Bonkers.
Thank you for noticing
Bonkers.
that. No coincidence.
So what that really just gave me the feel to really speak out loud is the union again of the masculine and the feminine. This is kind of what it really brought out for me in the moment. One, not only the fact that it's International Women's Day. Two, not even the fact that my neck was hurting so bad. I was like, we need to switch. It was almost like we need to switch roles. We need to switch energies for a moment. It was almost like it was like the dance more so. Not necessarily a switch, but the dance.
I call it a crescendo.
A crescendo.
Yeah.
Kind of like
exactly
because of the four snakes that get the flame in the middle again. Okay. Yeah.
And I also want to bring this up. It's the sacral power, right? Which is what these colors all represent. And then, of course, a little bit of the red being grounded. But this is the
heart.
Throat.
You said the throat?
Yeah, turquoise. So throat is the expression. And that's the thing. If we're not this is the only way we manifest through the physical world is through the throat. We just on the way over here walked through this whole march of people expressing we need to have our expression. Our voice needs to be spoken.
To be heard and spoken, yeah.
So the turquoise and the sacral coming out together in tantric union to express. There's no coincidence in that.
Not at all.
So thank you so much for pointing that out.
Jessica says that she shifted to your feminine energetic side, and now it's balancing out. Yeah, because tears came pretty much right after we started switching. I like boom, left and right. And the yellow pillow is feminine in the middle, and the blue is surrounding it now. Huh. I gotta read that again. And the yellow pillow, feminine, is in the middle, and the blue is surrounding it.
Oh, she's talking about like the cookie.
Okay. Oh shit, the cookie again.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. This is the emotional heart center that you were speaking about, right? If you had astral body, physical body, emotional heart center again. So I thank y'all for pointing that out. Y'all super duper observant. I'm having an incredible moment. I'm really enjoying myself. One, I want to ask, are there questions? Speak them out before we go back to our bookmark on sexual transmutation and how that may even play into a part that tantric is in everything. But that bookmark of the masculine, of the feminine, sexual transmutation, and how do we, I want to almost say, work through properly calibrating to not to have the I'm strong, independent woman, which means that you can't be interdependent, which was a part of the role of lifting the male and the heart from the mind to the heart, as well as on the opposite with men being and getting to the space of emasculation and being, in a sense, so emotional that their clear focus, their purpose, and the direction is completely distorted from their natural masculine divinity. So with that said, ask questions. Anybody new, drop the thumbs up. I still want to always hear from y'all. I really appreciate y'all. I was curious on the tantric exchange of energies before sex. Can you expand on that? I think she's about to eat you up on that comment. I felt that shit. I was like, she's gonna eat you. I was like, you're about to get eaten alive. I was like, no, I didn't say it out loud. Oh man. Okay, Elisha, brace yourself. I want you to dig those claws in and then let them go. Just surrender. Just go ahead and let it go. So I'm gonna repeat it.
Okay.
Just to bring the energy back to center so that you can go ahead and do what you do. I was curious, this is a male speaking, I was curious on the tantric exchange of energies before sex. Can you expand on that?
Yeah. So there's only 3 things on this planet that matter. 3 things.
What's number 1?
Breath.
Breath.
Spine.
Spine.
Water.
Water.
That's it. Tantric is all about those 3 things. The breath controls the body controls the mind. So in order to experience true Tantra, it starts with breath. And I know probably many of you have done breath work, but you haven't done breath work with me.
Mm.
And I guarantee you that you've done a lot of breath work, okay? Um, you want to do an example?
Let's do a breath work right now.
Okay. All right. So, well, I'll explain this for a moment. So, Tantra starts with the breath. And so when we're able to transmute, this actually is a really good, it's a perfect question to lead into sexual transmutation. Because what will happen is the breath controls the spinal fluid that moves up the spinal fluid, which will eventually evoke a Kundalini.
And just so for who may not understand Kundalini,
Don't research Kundalini because it's all bullshit. I told you from the very beginning, but yes, finish your question.
so to just clarify and bring awareness, let's say authentic awareness in the moment. What is Kundalini? When it comes from you, what are you transmitting?
So there's 4 snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, there's 4 energies that are coiled up in our spine. That is the Kundalini. So it's like, you do see the snake, but it's not what you think it is. And you don't want to be messing with these energies if you don't know what it is. It's all bad. Like, seriously, you can get incredibly sick. You can go through psychic fire. You can open up yourself to a psychic attack, to the different realms. Whew, trust me, you do not want to do that. Because I met my quote unquote twin in Egypt, and he evoked my Manta Kundalini, which I wasn't quite ready for. I didn't realize what I was going through was Kundalini until which was a really trippy experience. How my not guru, but my Indian teacher from India came into my life, which was really trippy. Was able to help me through this. But anyways, so I went through it from the demigod realm. I went through a psychic attack. Trust me, you don't want to fuck with these energies. Okay, but anyways, so it starts with the breath. The breath will then move the water up the spinal fluid. And then what'll happen is through the pituitary gland or the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, what'll happen is it'll start to break down the scar tissue between these 2 glands that are going to evoke and crack open and activate higher levels of DNA, which is going to start stimulating melatonin and DMT in the body, which are going to be able to see through things like dense objects. And then when you, is this too foreign?
No.
Okay.
Everybody is very familiar with what you're speaking.
Okay.
To some capacity, especially.
Okay. So once this happens, then this tantric union will start to awaken and coil, and then when the 2 do it together, then the bodies are able to mesh together, and then this is when your true dharma, when the 2 flames come together, I think is kind of what we're doing. But let me start with the breath. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you right now to, usually I would ask for permission, but I'm gonna, whatever.
You may touch me.
I've already done it, so sorry. Okay, so I want you to take a deep breath in, out. Take a deep breath in, out. Okay, deep breath in, out. So take a deep breath in, out. So what we want with the breath, okay, the chest shouldn't move at all. There should be no movement and no expansion in the chest. Okay. So when we take a deep breath in, we want it to be like fully from the belly. And so when we're sitting here through this, men especially, because men will hold this, like we have to be strong, right? With them.
And practice this while she's speaking, by the way.
Mhm.
The breath that she's leading you through, practice it in the meanwhile.
Yeah. So we don't want the chest to be moving like at all. It should only be here and through here. Okay? And it's a very difficult breath, and there's a lot of stages to it. Okay? But we're just going to go through the basic stage, and then I'll talk about the second stage, because until you've mastered the first stage, there's no way you're going to get to the second stage. Okay? So the first stage is, I want you to bring your shoulders back a little bit more. Okay? Because we need to have the spine completely straight. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. I want you to take a deep breath in, out. And you see here, the stomach is tense. Right here in the sacral and the solar plexus, when I did that, the tension ended up moving down into here, and then the breath stayed at the root. It didn't actually move. So then that's telling me that we need to practice on the breath so we can move the spinal fluid up a little bit more, right? So how we're going to do that is, I'm going to put my hand right here. I want a full extension of the belly. I'm going to count to 3, and then I'm going to have you just release everything. Just breathe naturally and normally for right now. I'm going to count to 3. You're going to breathe in for 3 seconds. You're going to hold for 3 seconds, and then you're going to release for 3 seconds. Okay? Okay, breathe normally for right now. Okay. In, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. There's a lot of tension right here in the solar plexus. It's not allowing it to go fully in. So it tells me, one of the things that if I were, which I'm doing right now, but I would do this more intensively, where I would need to work right here, some belly work on some blockages that are coming here through this area here. So we're going to work on this a little bit. So we're going to do this. Normally, you're going to work your way into doing this for 12 seconds. My natural breathing would be between 8 and 9 seconds, right? But most people are between 3 and 4. See, like your breathing is too quick. So let's try and do this again. Okay. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we wanted, the breath is just kind of being stuck right here a little bit. This is about the future. This is about the past. And so there's like something stuck here and there's something stuck here. Because when you're trying to breathe out, which is like breathing, like if we think about, which is the fire energy, like out, it's like the cool is coming in, but then the fire is coming out. There's something in here that just needs to be like unlocked. So there's something here that needs to be unlocked in the breath so it can move more freely up the spine. So like you can kind of feel my hand is not super warm. It's not cold, but the energy is like just stuck right here. So then we would work on moving this up. So that breath, it's a Kriya breath. We want to work on that and do that daily before a meditation, to start moving the spinal fluid up. And you'll notice that as the breath comes up, there's going to be places where as it moves up, it's like you'll go like this, and it's okay. Like breathe through it and still try and bring it up. But then you're going to notice that your meditations and that third eye is going to really start to open. And then the second stage to that, once we're able to get the breath to start moving a little bit more, then what we want to do with the adding the second element of Tantra is being able to squeeze the genital muscles while we're doing that, or while we're doing the breath. And then once you're able to do that freely by yourself, then we bring in a partner to do that. And then there's an element which is actually a little bit deeper on the third stage, when we bring it in the partner, which is what you were asking before. um, you could do it, and please don't do this. Please don't do this. And I'm almost hesitant to even say this. Do not do this right now. Please, please, this is a very big precaution. Do not do it. I would facilitate this with someone, or if somebody's very advanced in this, I would show them how to do that. But you would open up your spiritual energies, which I personally don't need to do that with others. But if I were to do this with a partnership, this is when I would incorporate psilocybin, where I could go in and actually see where the two tantric unions between the two partnerships and the ka bodies could come together more in union. But when you really open up that DMT centers in your brain, plant medicines are only fourth dimensional. People think that they're fifth dimensional. They're not. They're only fourth dimensional consciousness. But you can do this with plant medicines, specifically psilocybin, where you go through, like we were talking about, a 6 to 8 hour marriage between what's called the ka bodies, where they come together. And that is actually the true marriage. Marriage is not a piece of paper. Marriage is the two ka bodies coming together in union. So that's like a very short description of the sacred union of the tantric of the two partners. But it takes a lot of preparation to get there.
Did that answer your question?
I feel like I unpacked a lot, but it was flowing, so it was just
No,
kinda,
no, 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 no,
I
no, no,
unpacked
no,
a
no, no.
lot, but
No, the thing is, these channels aren't meant to be blocked.
yeah.
You know, they're meant to be expressed.
Well, you know what's so funny? At nighttime, I've been sleeping and I've been noticing myself. Again, the body doesn't lie. I wake up with my tongue in between my teeth, because I've been biting my tongue. And it was my own um, sexuality that I wasn't wanting to really fully express, because it is very strong. And so I'd been holding back. And so now that it's like, and I told you when we were boxing the other day, it's time to come out of hibernation. And so I actually, like, just the other day posted like a nude photo of myself online. It was like, I'm done. Like I'm hearing my tongue or holding back any longer.
International Women's Day.
Mhm.
It's a coming out party. It's a good one.
Yeah.
The one who originally asked the question says that he heeds your words. He doesn't have a partner, but he says thank you so much for information.
You don't want to do this with a partner first, because, like I said,
She said that's the third minimum, and then going into the last.
When I say trust me on this, trust me on this, practice that breath, doing that 3 to 12, like, for me to learn that kriya was something that I did through, I've gone through a lot of teachings, but that was a 2-year process, like these aren't things that you just like learn overnight, but right now the energies are helping us to move forward. So time is accelerated right now. It doesn't need to take 2 years, which is part of my, which is why I went through it first. That is part of my dharma, to experience it first and then to be able to teach others in an accelerated way. So it doesn't need to take 2 years, but this breath work needs to be done individually first. So the most basic thing you can do right now is just do that. Sit for a little bit, do it from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 12. You're not going to get to 12 right in the first few times you do it. And don't force yourself, because then it's just, you're not getting anywhere, right? You can work 1 hour or you can work 100 hours. It doesn't matter. Time is an illusion. So allow yourself to be patient and listen to your body, but work your way up to 12. Practice that breath.
Was this your lead into sexual transmutation specifically?
Absolutely. So your question was, that actually is a step of sexual transmutation, because it starts from the root.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back into that topic. I don't know if we talked about it all, but many light workers were called into celibacy,
Mm-hmm.
because what we were doing was we were giving our sexual energy away too frequently, especially through Tinder and whatever. Everybody's feeling horny, blah, blah, blah. You go and just go and give your sex away to people. Your sex is your power.
Mm-hmm.
Your sexual energy is your power. And when you're just physically giving it away to people, we're not able to actually open up those centers here. So people are like, oh, I do speak from the heart. No, I guarantee you're not. We haven't gotten, I see. I'm guaranteeing you're not.
Boogers. I got a friend that calls them boogers.
Yeah.
Those burps and yawns.
Yeah, they're absolutely. It's releasing. I guarantee you're not, because the amount of work that you have to do to get to that space of the heart is you have to literally go backwards in time. Literally experience your adolescence back in time to go through the core wound, in order to open up the heart space. So it's like, oh, I've been in my heart space for a while. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. I guarantee you haven't. There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, the awareness to be honest about that is the best gift you can give yourself in that. Because opening up the heart space is the scariest thing you will ever, ever, ever go through in your lifetime. And until you can explain to me what it's like to visit or have the angel of death visit you, and you have to face the scales of justice, goosebumps, your heart's not open yet. And you're not ready to go through that Kundalini quite yet, which is not, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's what we're being called in to do right now.
This is the next 18 months that you're speaking?
Absolutely. The Eye of Horus wants to open up in all of us. I mean, seriously.
I see him.
The Eye of Horus when we look at the dollar bill, and we see the pyramid. I wish I had a dollar right here. If anybody has a dollar right here. We look at the US dollar in the back. There is that Eye of Horus. And it wants to open in all of us right now. And through the Eye of Horus is how we open up our prosperity. And the prosperity isn't just money. Although those of us who are willing to do this work will be incredibly wealthy financially, but in every area of our life. If we're willing to do that kind of deep inner reflection and go through that pilgrimage.
Is it on 20 or the 100?
I think it's on, let me see. It might be on all of them.
That's all I have.
Oh. I know it's on the dollar bill.
I feel like I've seen what you're talking about.
Yeah. You'll see the pyramid, and on the top of it, there's another pyramid, and there's an eye in the middle of it.
Everybody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's the Eye of Horus. And it is the scariest thing because you also go through what's called this which it's your body goes through an inner freezing, which is it's an inner, you freeze from the inside out, which is where the water part comes in, because water holds consciousness. So it's that when the DNA goes through, your body freezes from the inside out and the consciousness changes. And so all the programming that we had before, it gets reprogrammed. So anything that releases, something has to come back in. So all the water that's retained in the body actually freezes from the inside out, and then the body recalibrates itself, and then that's when the heart melts open.
I almost gotta like pause from the versions in 4 countries now that I've met of you. This is my favorite. It's my favorite.
Because this is the first time you're hearing me speak about any of this stuff.
First time.
Well, everybody is.
Yeah, I mean, it almost didn't, at least to my own recollection, like this wasn't inside of you. At least from what was being shown, right? Which probably was the biting of the tongue.
I wasn't sharing this stuff before. And I don't share anything until I've gone through it myself. The reason why I'm able to share this is because I've gone through it. So when I'm telling you there's no books about this, go ahead and try and research everything that I've shared. You're not going to see it because there is no book. And the energies that I'm dealing with right now, or talking about, I'm not going to write a book about this because I trust that my body is a magnet for the people who need to hear the message and who need to go through this. And if you're ready to go through this, you'll be called to do this work. I don't need to go seek anybody who's not ready to do it. And I know that's what I was put on this planet to do, was to attract the people who are ready to do this type of work, who are ready to hear the message. If this message doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't resonate with you. But I trust that the people here who are listening to this, it resonates to some capacity. Maybe not all of it, but there's pieces that you're going to take away that it does resonate.
And for anybody that's here that even heard a lick of this or the majority, I want you to write like what has been your takeaway from what she shared, especially because you never know what your comment might do for other people in the comments. And so go ahead and, like she's kind of said, don't bite the tongue on these moments.
Even if you think I'm full of shit,
please. Even if you think she's full of shit, please write that, comment that, because we like many of you know, at least from the astrology standpoint, is like self-known Scorpio. We're stepping out of the secrecy. We're stepping out of the shadow as a collective, right? We're letting go of these parts that have not allowed us to forgive, aka not allowed us to open that heart center, which is exactly in alignment with what she's talking about, allowing us to step into the more natural forms of our senses, touch, taste, smell, sight, and even going beyond that. Like these are just incremental steps that is a part of it. Like she said, don't expect to have all these answers or even to be able to digest 1,000% of this overnight or in one moment. And thank you all for commenting and dropping some of this stuff in here. So somebody saying off the rip, Jessica Martinez, this resonates. My shaman teacher calls opening the heart center a spirit walk journey. And love to see what you have to say about this as well. Elijah's saying from one of the things that he's gathering out of this. Wow. Okay. Wow. You guys are typing. I appreciate it. Let the flow. Let that shit flow. Mm-hmm. Unfreeze the water in the body. Let it flow. Let that consciousness out. Elijah's saying flowing, oneness, breath, spine, and water has been the key words for me. And I know he has a lot of strong Pisces placements for that water right there. Online strips without clothing, whoever that is, whatever that is. Secret, I can literally sense what she is saying deep within. This sister is golden. Happy International Women's Day. Go ahead in the chat one more time and just throw whatever emoji makes you want to honor a woman today. Whatever that is, I want you to drop that specific emoji, whatever emoji you feel on International Women's Day as she's flowing. This is living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. I want my freedom.
I love it.
Oh, yeah, we got to play that song. I want y'all to drop that emoji that makes you want to celebrate. And that's personal to you. International Women's Day, aka the day, which is every day, not just given a certain day. But yeah, this sister is golden. She's channeling from beyond this realm. That's an absolute, which is why so many of us are all getting chills, goosebumps, boogers. I'm over here yawning. We've had tears on multiple different sides. The synchronicities of the colors that people have pointed out. Just so much. The rubber bands and union literally sitting on the dress. Red and yellow, again, coming through the pure angelic message for today. So let me see what we got. I got flowers for you. Hey now.
All right.
Here are the agents. Welcome. They remind me of like the Matrix for real when you said that. I feel like the problem I always used, quote unquote, they aren't spiritual enough for me to talk to them, not realizing that was my own projection. Well, thank you for sharing that and bringing that out into the light as well. Because again, these are the steps as the whole collective consciousness raises, being able to face like what you were saying back in Bali, you know, in the Hindu culture, the light, the dark, and realizing that it's just a transition. It's not really any one set thing, at least from what I gathered in the moment.
You know, this is one thing. This is something that I just know to be true. Again, goosebumps. You got a person laying on the side of the road, homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Do you stop and not give them food because they're not spiritual? Give them water because they're thirsty? Or food because they're hungry because they're not spiritual enough? Those people on the side of the road, those are earth angels, and they see through you. God is watching through the eyes to see how compassionate you are. And every time I walk by somebody on the street, even if I don't give them money or give them something, I was telling you this the other day, I always say,
God bless.
May God bless you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't maybe say it out loud, but I telepathically say it because I know that's God witnessing. That's witnessing divinity. If you can see divinity from someone homeless on the street, you're witnessing your own divinity. There is nobody on the planet that is not divine.
Fact. It's not a personal truth. That's fact. Because there's a difference. There's not a personal truth. That's a fact.
Somebody the other day on my Instagram, because I posted a photo of me like I was at a beach club and I was in a bathing suit, and she had mentioned something about being like something about Satan and saving yourself for your sexuality for a man and da 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 da. And I read it. I was with a friend of mine, and he was like, "Don't get upset about it." I was like, "I would never get upset about that."
Why would you?
Why would I? That was her projection. Everybody saw me, has seen. I used to do fitness competitions. I was like, I'm very comfortable with my body. Everybody has the same freaking body. I have no shame in my game. I have no shame in my body. And so the only thing I said back to her was, I was like, wow, there was a lot to unpack in the statement that you have. I've never been called Satan before. I didn't say that, but I was laughing my ass off when I was. But what I said back to her, may God bless you. Your own criticism and what you see in me is what's wanting to express yourself, express itself out of you that you see in me. And all I can do is say, thank you, God, for allowing me to shine my light on that shadow so it can come into awareness.
And no, because I saw some of the comments, know that this works the opposite way. I don't know where it was exactly, but somebody said that she's shining bright as the sun. There was a comment, something like that. So know that this works not only if you, let's say, have a, and I'm going to quote unquote negative projection, but also if you're able to see the light in the sun and
In
that
me,
radiance vibrating within her.
that's the sun shining out in you.
So also understand that it works in every way. You know, it transitions not on the side of criticism that may be classified, not necessarily true, but classified as a negative projection, but also understand that it works in the aspects of others that we admire about them. Like the aspects that we admire about other people, it works in that exact fashion as well. So do understand that when you do compliment somebody on their beautiful smile, you do compliment somebody on the way that they took care of their family, these are the things that are also either one within you or even asking you to acknowledge that you have this within you as well. And so it's important, I feel, to just, as a part of all this, recognize the density, okay, and the depth of everything within this last hour and a half. Recognize the depth of everything that was spoken, and that it's not something to have to be taken personally, right? It's that you don't have it all done yet, or that you didn't know as much as she knew or shared today, or my breath and like, oh my God, she's right. I got to work on this, like this sacral in this solar plexus chakra tonight. As soon as she leaves.
I bet you more than anything when you, so when I do this spinal work on people, people come to me, I dreamt about snakes all night. And then I have a friend of mine who's like, don't let her touch you because all you're going to feel is snakes. You're just going to start seeing snakes. And so my friend's like, I was like, don't touch me. So it's funny because it's like most likely you'll probably start dreaming about snakes or have something about snakes.
They already come. They're here.
Yeah. So it's like so funny because it's like just awakening this. It's like, it's so funny. I can't wait to hear what dream you have tonight.
My dreams.
Yeah.
So good time to ask questions. Is there anything that you feel is very significant that you feel you must say before you get off of this? Like, it's like, you know, you have people's interest in the moment. And again, mind you, people that are not even here are going to watch us on replay. Is there something that must be said, that must be shared? Like, if I'm able to any way capacity use this particular platform to push what your dharma and what you're here to do.
My angels right now, like again, right now, what they're saying right now, and the tears are coming through real strong right now because I'm feeling this energy so strong right now. My angels are screaming at me, shame, 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 shame. If there's anything that you're holding back sexually, or that you have any sexual shame about, this is what we're needing to bring out in the world right now. We need to start. We've got to get over our shame over our sexuality.
Yeah. Yep. It's interesting because as you say this, the last comment that I see is, what is the science behind wet dreams? Shit you not. Shit you not. Like, it's literally when you, right before you say it, it was like, but is there a science that you're familiar with behind wet dreams?
Well, you know, the thing is, it's like, the first thing that wants to come out of my mouth is, first of all, what's the science behind wet dreams? It's a very logical question. And not to dismiss the logical thing about it, the interpretation of it, but our dreams are very subconscious. So there's not very, and it's not a very scientific thing, but our dreams and the symbolism that happen, this is what I want to share on this. I'm like, okay, what's wanting to express through? Between the hours of 2 and 5 o'clock in the morning, our physical and spiritual bodies, they separate into different layers. And what'll happen is all of the thoughts, the words, everything that we've taken in from the day, they imprint on us. So, like our spine, for instance, we've got our structural spine, and then in the middle of each disc is a fluid, right? That's where our Akashic records are stored. So, anything that's subconscious, especially with sexuality, as the Akashic records are being updated, um, we're going to have these symbolisms and these things that are happening, um, and they're being recorded into the Akashic records, and then after 2 to 5, then from 5 to 7, then they start to ground back into each other. And so, like, the wet dreams are just like, it's symbolism from when you're sleeping that's just being expressed through sexually. And there's nothing bad about it. There's nothing, you don't want to judge it in any way, shape, or form. But there's something there that's wanting to be released sexually. That's what that's all about. And for a man, right, your DNA is constantly being upgraded through the release of ejaculation. And so, the first thing that I want to say in regards is specifically into the energy of what you asked about. There's something that you're holding back that wants to be released.
Hmm.
And that's what the energy is telling you. There's something that you're holding back that wants to be released. And you're going to need to face what's trying to be released right now, because there's something that you're not wanting to look at that's wanting to be released. And so, on a spiritual sense, that's the energy that I'm reading from the question that you're asking right now.
Was that helpful? That's my question for you.
The body never lies. The body never lies.
There's a natural intelligence to the body. I mean, there's been proven between the feet and the hands comment, the wet dreams, the entire topic of tantric sex, tantra being in and a part of everything, not even about sex itself, the union, and what the body reveals in order for these unions to go ahead and happen, to merge. I think that even the flyer was about, are you ready to merge? Something
Mhm.
like that. And, I just put that. I don't know. I don't have to really know. It happened.
Yeah.
It's like, and so this is all about the merge. And last night, I was dreaming of being on a rocket ship and everyone was there naked, and it blew up and became a star. Not sure what it means.
There's a great power in our vulnerability.
Hmm.
And that's another goosebump moment. Man, so many goosebump
You
moments.
heard, you heard me pause. You heard me pause. I was like, I saw more comments pull up, and I was like, I'm just gonna stop right there. I was like, I'm just gonna
There's a
stop right
great
there.
power in our vulnerability. In that you're being asked to be more vulnerable. And once you own your vulnerability, vulnerability then turns into humility.
Mhm.
But vulnerability is something to master. And once you start to master the vulnerability, true vulnerability and authenticity, and allow yourself to strip, then that's when the long rocket ship will take off for you. But you're being asked to go deeper into your vulnerability and to strip down, remove the mask. Where are you holding back in your vulnerability?
This same woman said it definitely was helpful. I'm holding back telling someone how I feel romantically,
Yep.
and I need to let this go.
Yep. It goes back to what I was saying before. Remember when I was saying when that quote unquote twin flame comes together, it becomes a rocket ship that catapults into like true global leadership. So of course, when it talks about the rocket ship, when the two come together and then you launch off. And so the nakedness and the stripping, when you're holding back, you're you sent me a video the other day about not being halfway.
Mm.
I was telling you about a friend of mine, Anthony,
Mm-hmm.
how I've never experienced a relationship
So
like
much
that
love,
before.
right?
Such the deepest
Yeah.
love I've ever experienced. And at first I was very questioned. I was like, is this a romantic love?
Mm.
But then I realized it wasn't. But the thing that him and I we would talk. I was telling you to like 5:30, 6:30 in the morning for
Yeah.
like 12 hours. We were like literally Manthony.
Mm-hmm.
Like you couldn't see us apart. And people would be like, God, you guys are so in love. It's disgusting. And the reason why was because I want to share this story real quick, like very briefly. Because I feel like this story is going to help so many people in their relationships.
Mm-hmm. Give us the scoop.
Back in 2015, I was in a relationship with a man who he was the one. He's Russian, so a very strong energy. I was so in love with this man. And we were in bed one night and he says to me, tell me how you feel about me. And I started getting so squirmy. And in my mind, I was like, nope. It's weak for me as a woman to tell this man how I feel about him because it's a man's job to tell me that he loves me first because we hadn't exchanged the I love you yet. But he wanted me to say it first. And I started getting all squirmy. And he's like, just say it. I know already how you feel about me. Just say it. And I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say it. And he ended up being the one that broke my heart. And at the end of the day, I like tried to throw this Hail Mary to save the relationship, and my heart broke. And then it drove me into a very, to where I'm at today. I needed that to happen. But it was because I only gave myself half to him. What would have happened if I would have given myself wholly to this man? Who knows? Who knows? So this person, Anthony, comes into my life, and I was like, I'm not holding back my words on how I feel about anybody ever again. And I got to practice this with a man who wasn't a romantic partner, but we had the deepest communication ever. And I am so now, when you see me with people, I'm so affirmative with them, even if I don't receive it back. Even if it makes them uncomfortable, I am so affirmative with people. And I'll never hold back my communication with how deeply I love somebody or how deeply I feel about somebody ever again. Because I lost a really great love in my life because I only went halfway.
Mm.
And I'll never do that again. And I had practice, and when oh gosh, why am I forgetting her name right now? I guess it doesn't matter, it'll come to me. The goddess. I don't know why I can't.
Krishna?
Not Krishna. The Asian goddess. Why is her name slipping my mind right now? Guess it doesn't matter.
Shiva? That's not a woman.
No. Came to me in Hawaii and warned me that he was going to be taken from me, that we were going to separate. I was like, oh shit. I was like, no, not Anthony. But he was just practice. He was just practice for me to practice how to communicate my feelings with a man.
Hmm.
Don't hold back how you feel, either because you're independent or you feel rejection. What's yours is yours. What's not is not. So don't speak just halfway.
Shakti.
No.
That's just what somebody said.
Oh no, it wasn't Shakti. I don't even know why her name is slipping my mind right now, because I guess I'm not in that energy right now. It'll come to me. Yes, Kuan Yin, thank you.
Kuan Yin.
I had a very similar experience with Kuan Yin, and
It was Kuan Yin?
Yeah, when Kuan Yin came through, thank you.
I've seen this on a card recently. That's so crazy.
Kuan Yin and I had a very similar human experience. Our human experiences were almost identical, and she warned me that Anthony, and as when Kuan Yin came to me, she came to me in Hawaii. I was like, please. I kept on telling her, pause, 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 pause. And so I had some warning that Anthony and I were going to be separating, because her mentor and she had the same kind of love with her mentor, left. And I was like, I needed the warning, but it was just practice for me to be able to express myself fully with my words, to drop that face of feeling weak, because I'm supposed to be a strong, independent woman.
I see a woman say that that's a frame in her bedroom. Kuan Yin.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, it was funny because even where I was living, Kuan Yin came to me. I was living on a eco village, like a farm, and people would come to me because I was like, oh my God, it was the trippiest experience when Kuan Yin like literally came to me and was speaking. We kept on digging up Kuan Yin statues all on the land. They're like
where were you?
In Hawaii.
Uh.
So the people that are in the farm digging, they're like, look, Bandy, there was like all these Kuan Yin, like seriously, no joke. Kuan Yin was being dug up from the earth right after she came and spoke to me. But don't ever speak halfway.
And you have people literally in the chat, Jessica, right now saying, you're helping her digest something very big right now, and she's thanking you again one more time for International Women's Day. You know, today I was like, I want to really like just the best I can, like just to be here and just be open and really receive everything that you got to give, and for the platform as well to just receive what you have to give. And right now I'm tingling right here. And so this is like, that's it. That's what I got. I'm just open for it. I'm here for it all. And
just receive.
Yeah, that's it. Like I'm just here for it. The lovely Root spoke about how powerful I did this with my first love, and it could have been something wonderful, but the fear was holding her and them back. And you know, in this moment, honestly, I almost really just want to back what Mandelynn is saying. All right. So if I shift it in any way, don't let me. I really want to back what she's saying. And I did send this out to a lot of people recently about do not do anything halfway. Like whatever it is, not even just love. And, you know, I can tell you, like, I've pissed a lot of people off in my lifetime, maybe because I'm in Aries and we fucking hit what we hit. Like we go for it and we fall on our face all the time, but it's never really considered such a thing. It's just me experiencing the experience. And so there are things that I've been learning to benefit by taking my time in different areas. But what I can say is, from someone that just naturally just goes for it, even when it hurts, even when I fucking land in my face, that there's really nothing more exhilarating. Even a heartbreak is a buildup. You know what I mean? Like even when you get heartbroken, by going all the way, by deciding to be vulnerable And I speak about this from personal experience in my life. It's like to the point where I've had to learn the opposite and not let people walk on me. But it's like at the end of the day, like go for it. I don't go halfway. Hit the home run. Even if you get one base, aiming for the home run. At the end of the day, you will never have that mentality. It's just a personal opinion. You can't call it a fact, but you will never have those ghosts at your bed saying, I wish I did X, Y, and Z. That's just, again, my personal opinion. It's my personal truth in the moment of why I feel just to put the extra sauce on, go all the way, don't go half, whatever the fuck that is. Food, love, whatever it is, like recognize it as an experience, not even a lesson. It's not even a lesson. It's not even something you have to learn. It's just an experience to witness and then adjust from there if necessary, or just accept it for exactly what it was. There might, more likely than not, doesn't need to be an adjustment. It's just like, where and how do you shift and move from this place? That said, I'm going to check if there's any last few comments. Starting with showing up for yourself. Absolutely. Wait, I think I missed a couple. I have dressed many candles with Kuan Yin on them. Powerful. Starting with showing up for yourself. Absolutely. I thank y'all for dropping so much love in the comments and, taking your moments to vote. I see between this, it looks like there are 30% of you on here that are celibate. 50% of you on here that understand and believe tantric sex is the future, or tantric relations, tantra as an entire concept, recognizing, like Mandelynn said earlier, that it's in everything. It's not actually about the sex at all, right? Like she said, this is just the cherry, but it's literally the tip of the iceberg. And I do see somebody in here, which maybe you didn't hear what Mandelynn had said, but somebody in here is searching for their twin flame. And I'll bring that back to the roomie, search for what's searching for you, seek what's seeking you.
Yeah, what you're seeking is seeking you. What I said in the beginning is, don't believe me, don't seek for that twin flame, because what you think is a twin flame is not a twin flame. It's not this ultimate love or this ultimate, it's not that. Believe me, it's not. My twin flame is in Egypt, but he's not the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with.
They're often never the romantic, idealistic Disney movie. The twin flame concept in general, like.
But he absolutely 100% is the twin. He was the one that was supposed to awaken my Kundalini, one of these days we'll have a talk about what that is.
That woman that was sharing all that is 15 years old.
Sharing what?
The woman that was asking the questions about the rocket ship and the whole nine, she's 15.
Oh, wow.
She put a lot of, and this makes me, I completely interrupted you out of pure excitement.
No, that's fine.
But because I wanted you to get back to this Egypt, but for this brief moment, thank you, one, for sharing your age, because we had this conversation just the other day that it's not our parents, it's not even us, it's not even actually you, but the children of you, right? And what I'm saying is the youth, okay? The youth that's not even fully here yet, and the ones that are here that are going to bridge the gap. Like, this is all of it. This is partially considered a ladder, right? Literally, look at the ladder in the background. Never had a ladder in my room in my entire life. This is a ladder and it's a bridge. So I thank you for even sharing that age, because it's just confirmation, even just for me in the moment. Like, I want to express gratitude for you for tuning in, for staying present, and taking in information and digesting topics that took her in just one area, 2 years to digest. I forget the exact name you spoke on. Korea. 2 years just for that. And again, she's here to give this information in an accelerated fashion, and you're here and you're digesting this. And so I just want to say thank you.
So up until now, it's taken 40 years for us to fully incarnate into the body. 40 years. And right now we can't afford any longer for it to take 40 years for us to fully incarnate into the body. it's got to be accelerated. There's something that did come up when you did share your age, and I'm just going to share because right I'm feeling very intense pain in the back of my ovaries right now. This is in my energy. Um, and I really want to share this for any young woman out there right now. We don't just freely give this sexual energy away to, I wrote this morning, or I think I wrote it yesterday. Our sexuality isn't something that we're just here to give away to a man. It is our power. And I wish that somebody would have said this to me, though, um, um, when I was your age, because I have 2 children that I had when I was 14 and 15. And before you do give your sexual energy away to somebody, ask yourself, is this somebody that you would want to have a child with? I don't care if you're using protection or whatever, but when you do have sex with somebody, you're exchanging the most powerful energy that you have, that you possess. My body is covered right now in goosebumps. 15 is the biggest stamp of your life. The biggest stamp of your life. It's how you integrate your spiritual and your emotional intelligence into your mental intelligence. And as you move into 15 to 21 and experience and bring in the spiritual and the emotional, you don't just freely give that energy to someone who doesn't deserve it. And this is the time that you practice sexual transmutation. And then you can come out as a fully imbibed, reincarnated person by the age of 21, which is where we're moving into. So I find that it's very beautiful that you shared your age. God made you share that with the group right now. That needed to be said.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You do not. So question, is this somebody that I would want to create with? We're all creators. We're creating every day. So you don't just freely give that energy away. When we do have sex with somebody, that energy stays with you for 7 days. It's that person's energy. And if you don't know that person and you're spiritually bonded to this person for 7 days, that goes into the topic of the beast. And I want everybody right now that this is coming in so strong right now. Take a freaking deep breath and breathe that in. Because the beast, like I said right now, is very alive and well right now for the next 18 months. And that's how the beast gets in. The beast gets in through drugs, alcohol, and sex. And if we invite, if there's like a deep trauma and we invite, we say yes to the beast. And it latches onto our spine, to our Akashic records, and it F's us up. That message really wanted to come through right there. And I'm glad that I was able to share it.
When you say invite, what do you mean?
So you have to say yes to the beast. So let's say that's the thing with the plant medicines, that people just freaking are just using that stuff so damn freely, or your spiritual energies are just so wide open. Alcohol, why do you think they're called spirits?
Mhm.
Right?
So the sex, the drugs, this is the invitation.
It's the invitation.
Impairing
So what'll
yourself.
happen is the beast looks like little. They're little parasites. They look like they look like little octopus.
Mhm.
They don't have a spine of their own. So what they do is they latch on to the spine, and they'll leech off of your energy, and they'll leech on to like the different areas into on the spinal cord. And so and they're spineless, and they have to have a host. So when we're giving ourselves away sexually too easily, or we're saying yes to drugs or alcohol with somebody that we don't quite know, and we're allowing these particular energies to come in, and especially like if the body gets like agitated or irritated or whatever, and the beast right now is so alive and well right now. It's saying, oh, let's say you're drinking and you're going through some deep pain and you don't want to feel this pain anymore. The beast will be like, oh, well, in exchange for this, I'll give you this.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, that sounds amazing.
Mhm.
You just invited that in, and now you've got like these little parasites on the spine. That's why that breath is really important, because it removes those beasts. And so sometimes you're like, why am I so confused? Like, why can't I see clearly? Well, because that is the point of the beast, is to confuse you. And it's a very deep conversation, but it for some reason that needed to come out very strong.
Energies exchange. Yeah, I felt I was heavily attacked over the weekend and literally had to regain my spirit power back. Missy, releasing myself from energy leeches. I have a mother in here with a 15-year-old daughter that made me want to ask you a question as a mother who had a daughter at 15.
Mm-hmm.
And this is separate from the actual woman in her who is 15.
Mm-hmm.
She says that these 15-year-olds are taking quantum leaps, this mother of this 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
But as a part of this, what I wanted to ask was, for mothers out there, like I do know that there are a lot of mothers on my channel, for mothers out there, daughters, sons, we'll call it both for the moment, with, let's say, children in this 15 bracket, and I feel like you just said it. I really feel like you just said it, but just to really reiterate it, just to like nail it, what would you give to the mothers of children who are beginning to experiment with drugs, beginning to experiment with their sexuality, with all aspects that open them up to the beast and the parasites? And again, I know you pretty much just said it, but more so to polish it, just because I saw that question prior of another woman with a 15-year-old daughter that commented. What will be, as we get ready to close this live out, more so to allow people to digest, because I feel like anything beyond this
Too much.
is too much. Anything beyond this is too much. And so this last digestion message, along with one question where a gentleman asks, what is your favorite book? So that was another question. So we'll get to the book right after. I see all the people saying, look, I'm releasing myself from this energy leeches. Mothers with daughters, and I'll even say sons, because I mean, I'm pretty positive the beast isn't gender specific. It doesn't care what spine it takes on.
Trust me, I had to release a lot of them beasts off my back.
Yeah. And I consider this, again, I feel you really just covered it. So not to get deep,
it
but
goes back into, don't shame it.
Boom.
Ask the right questions. The best thing that we can do as parents is make sure to ask the right question. A question that makes your child think for themselves and open up to think and reason for themselves, because that is what, between the ages of 15 and 21, they're learning how to think and reason for themselves. So us trying to convince them, or you know, you can't do this, make this right or wrong, this is like the absolute worst time in a person's life where you could do that. No shame or no right or wrong. So, like, again, all right, if you think you're ready to have sex with this person, before you do that, would this be somebody you would be ready to have a child with? And in that moment, of that heated moment, do you not think that question is going to go right through that person's head? Absolutely not. It will.
Whether they reject you or not. Right? Like whether they're like, Mom, no, or like,
Yeah,
I don't want to hear that.
I tell my
Like,
kids this all the time. I tell my kids this all the time. I'm going to drop this piece of wisdom at you right now, and I don't care if you receive this right now or later. I'm okay with the delayed gratification.
yeah, that's it.
And I
Okay.
want to tell you my proudest moment in my life, because my kids are very highly critical of me. Like, as a mom, you are a parent, you out there, you already know this. My daughter, she is a Leo. She is just one of the fieriest people I've ever known in my life. But she researched for over a year how to rush for this particular sorority in college. I'll never get through this story without crying, because it literally is the proudest moment of my life. Because I was in an abusive relationship for 15 years with my kid's father. And so my daughter rushed, and there was two sororities who were fighting for my daughter. And my daughter calls me from college and was like, Mom, I don't know which sorority to choose. And I said, well, I can't make that decision for you. I said, but why did you choose the one that you did? And she said, well, Mom, because their philanthropy was building strong women. I told you I'll never get through this story without crying. And she said, and I told them all about you, and everybody wants to meet you. And the reason why that was so strong was because I always judged myself and thought I was so weak for being in an abusive relationship, but my daughter only saw my strength. We can't we got to allow our kids to evolve and be themselves, ask the right questions, but we can't project onto our children, because they have to have their own experience. And so it was a delayed gratification, that even though I planted the seed and she, was like, oh, Mom, blah, 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 at the end of the day, she still was watching from a higher perspective, because they're still tapped in at that level. So the worst thing we can do for our children is to make them wrong or shamed for the decisions that they make. All we can do is ask the right questions. Going back to the what's your favorite book? Back in the day, I would have given you a book. Today, I'm going to say your heart. There is no book that's written for what we're moving into, to the new world. Trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your gut, and trust your body. Because there's no book out there right now that's more powerful than the power of your sacral complex and your solar complex. There's no book out there that's going to give you that. Trust yourself. There's no book written that's going to give you any information that's not already innately in there. So I'm not going to give you a book, because everything that you need is right here.
He said he hears that fire. About 25 minutes or so ago, something, a moment you had, I wanted to give you a fat ass hug.
Mm.
And now that we're actually at the end, I'm going to ask you, I want to give you a fat ass hug. I want to give you a thick hug. And on top of that,
I call it a San Diego hug.
a San Diego hug.
It was one of those hugs that I used to be super afraid of. I'm like, good God. And I was like, oh, he wants to give me a San Diego hug.
I want to give you a San Diego hug. But I'm going to ask for the permission.
Of course.
I'm giving you a San Diego hug.
Mm-hmm.
I used to live there too. I bet I lived there. Thank you so much, honestly, for sharing your energy, your wisdom, your experiences, your dharma, literally your purpose, like your truth, your womanhood, your divinity. You've gave so much love today. Just the entire vibration of it. You gave so much love. Today, I honest to God feel very clearly in my own heart space that you raised not only the frequency, but just you raised the heart of men by also sharing with, primarily on this channel is women, but those women will do what?
They're going to raise the hearts of men.
They're going to raise the hearts of the men that we will never meet and we don't have to.
Nope.
So as a part of that, what I would like to say is one last time, give her hella fucking love as much as you possibly can in the comments. And recognize that that's energetically going to actually walk with her on her journey, okay? Because like each and every one of us, we have a journey. And if you respected what she brought as an element to the table today, go ahead and if you have the energy to spare, throw that out there for her because she won't always be here. She won't always be available. The access won't, she's here while she's here, right? And you can imagine the walk, okay, that she's walking. You can imagine the people she'll come in contact with. You can imagine the purpose that she has, and she does so much for others. She told me the other day that she actually, as a part of her mission, is to take karma from people, literally to embody it for herself, and that's wild because I don't think I've ever heard somebody say that they openly and willingly accepted their mission from God and whatever you consider such as such a call of you want me to take karma? She was like, yes. So thank y'all for that. I appreciate the hearts. It's International Women's Day. This I'm excited. I'm pumped. And I feel blessed and honored and also humbled. So thank you. Thank you all for joining. This is it. She gives me Oracle vibes, like in the Matrix. Absolutely. Thank you so much. You were a mother for me today. And this was the 15-year-old lady. And so that's powerful within itself. That's powerful within itself. My mom never talks to me about sex. She shames it and tells me that I'll get pregnant. She's really
There's
religious.
nothing for you to be. Man, God, we have to just release the shame around sexuality. We absolutely have to. I think it was yesterday. I honestly don't live in time anymore, so I don't know the days, but God asked me, are you ready to be a mother? 2 years ago, are you ready to be a mother? And I'll talk about this again in another conversation, but the mother it took me a lot to really come into this, and so thank you for seeing me and allowing me to be your mother today, because gosh, we have to have this conversation.
Yeah.
We have to have this conversation. And it was funny. Thank you for seeing me, and I received that because God asked me, are you truly ready to be a mother? The other day I'm in meditation. And so I'm very blessed that I myself was brave enough to be able to step into that and stop biting my tongue and be that today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think she just sealed it that before she leaves Mexico, before I leave Mexico, whoever leaves first, it's like a race. I think she just confirmed it that we're likely going to probably have another one. The topic may be completely different, but it'll come clear on what it is. If y'all would like to see that, let us know. Leo Lover, hey, what's going on? This is my piece for you, and what I want to say is something very simple. The day's not over. Give somebody a hug today. Straight up.
Give somebody a hug and look people in the eye.
Look them in the eye. Look them in the eye.
Just simply start practicing looking people in the eye. If I'm going to say anything about this whole mask situation, if I were going to take, let's just get out of the complaining about the mask. At least it's making us force each other to just look each other in the eye. Share your divinity with people. Look them in the eye. Throw that shit back at the beast. You want to try and silence us with your mask? Fine. Then I'm going to recognize your divinity and I'm going to share my divinity on you because you're not going to silence us because we can still see the divinity through each other's eyes. And I'm going to honor that in you today. And even though I might not be able to see everybody's eyes here, I can feel it. But I want to honor your divinity as well. Thank you for having me today.
Igualmente. Ciao, ladies and gentlemen. This was Beyond the Pleasure. Love.